often said to myself in years past, I never have enough time for myself. The Adama of years past, the Adama before Delicious Living, the Adama before Dream Leap Live, used to say, I never have enough time. I'm never able to do the shit that I want to do. I'm always so fucking busy doing other people's things. Why can't I do my own stuff? And that line of thinking would create, self-fulfilling prophecies. So I would say, I never have enough time. And rather than creating time for myself, I would find myself right back in that situation 24 hours later thinking, damn, I had all these items on my to-do list, but I never got anything done for me. I'm assuming I'm not the only person in the world that has this issue. And in the event that you have ever asked yourself, why don't I ever have time for me? Or in the event that you ever bought into the story that you don't have enough time for you, I want to offer 3 simple but not necessarily easy questions that you can ask yourself and reflect on in order to free up your calendar for more me time. The first question that you can ask yourself is, how much of my time do I actually spend on me? How much of my time do I actually spend on me? This is a question that may be easiest answered or may be most easily answered by doing a time log of actually writing out how you've spent each hour of your day. You can write it as you're doing it, or you can look back at the end of the day and really reflect. If I'm honest with myself, which is most important, I could lie to you as much as I'd like, but at the end of the day I have to deal with myself. But if I'm honest with myself, I would say that today, rather than waking up at 5:30 to do my reflection that I normally do, I woke up at 7:25. Those are 2 hours that I could have spent preparing for my day and centering myself and thinking about how I want to feel and who I want to serve. But instead, I spent that time sleeping. I don't regret it because clearly my body needed the sleep. But it's important to know those 2 hours could have been used differently, and instead I was in bed. I don't feel bad about it. I'm not putting any judgment on it. And I'm quite clear on the fact that my body needed that sleep. But I can now reflect on the fact that those 2 hours were spent in bed instead of in my morning practice. Between 7:30 and 8:03, I was trying to rush through my meditation, saying gratitude and celebrating myself, saying things that I'm proud of, saying things that I forgive myself for, and saying things that I was going to commit to. And then I was in the shower listening to The Read, one of my favorite podcasts, to kind of make myself laugh and kind of get my day going. Between, 8:15 and 8:25-ish, I was walking to the metro on my way to my day job. Between 8:29 and 8:47, I was getting to my day job. And I spent the first hour after morning announcements at work. I spent the first hour just thinking about all the things I felt I had to do. So I was writing down all the students I needed to meet with and all the meetings that I was anticipating having this week, and so on and so forth. It wasn't until, and I'm going to skip forward a little bit in my schedule for today. It wasn't until about it wasn't until after 1 o'clock that I started doing shit for me. I didn't eat my lunch until 1 o'clock. I did not even start to think about doing things that just felt fun until after 1 o'clock today. And so if I'm honest with myself, I can say I spent 1 hour doing things for myself. And the rest of the day was me scrambling to do things for other people, or me stressing out about not having done enough for other people, or some variation of that shit. So when I want to be honest about how I'm spending my time, a question I can ask myself is, how much of my time am I actually spending on me? A second question that I would need to ask is, if I gave myself permission to disappoint other people, how would I actually be spending my time? And that's easy. I can answer that for myself. If I gave myself permission to disappoint others, I would spend my time eating, sleeping, fucking, reading, and podcasting. Oh, dancing. Dancing would be somewhere in there. It's quite easy to me. Those are my 6 favorite ways to waste time. And I have no issue with that, right? Those are the things that I'd like to be doing with my time. But somewhere along the way, I had convinced myself that I had to be doing responsible things. I convinced myself that I had to be of service. And I feel that if I'm honest with myself, I am most likely to serve other people well when I serve myself first. Not because I'm selfish, but because I'm self-respecting. And I'm self-aware enough to know that when I am anything less than energized, anything I try to do for other people is going to be half-assed. I don't like putting my name on anything that is mediocre or not great. But I know that if I prioritize other people's needs over my own, I'm only going to be giving mediocre results. In the event that that's also true for you, keep that in mind. If you gave yourself permission to disappoint other people, how would you like to be spending your time? That's a really important question to think about. Because until you give yourself permission to disappoint other people, until you accept that absolutely nobody has ever died of disappointment, until you give yourself permission to make your needs a priority, you are going to spend a lot of time feeling bitter and resentful that you didn't get enough done for you. So that's the second question to ask yourself. And the third question that you can ask yourself, which is a question that I have to ask myself all the time, is how many things am I making urgent that actually aren't that fucking important? In other words, what things am I telling myself need to get done that I'm really only trying to get done to impress somebody or get somebody off my back or not feel anxious? If you're honest with yourself, the vast majority of things that you put on your must-do list are really only things that you're telling yourself to do to look good for other people. Which goes back to the second question. If I gave myself permission to disappoint others, how would I actually like to spend my time? So, these questions are simple, but not necessarily easy. They're simple enough to hear and understand, but really hard to do the dig deep work on. Lucky for you, you don't have to do that on your own. As founder of DreamLeapLive.com, I am here to help you live your most delicious life and stop wasting your life away doing things for everyone else. So if you want to stop wasting your life and start living a life that matches who you are and what's most important to you, if you want to make sure that you can enjoy a life that you don't need to run away from, let's get on the phone for 30 minutes. Find me at DreamLeapLive.com to schedule that. And if you are at all interested, we'll talk for 30 minutes about exactly what's going on with you in your life that makes you feel you never have enough time for you, and exactly what strategies you can start taking to make that time work. If for some reason you're a little intimidated about getting on the phone with me, because I know I can be a bit crass, that's all right. If you are not yet ready to get on the phone, then why don't you sign up for a report? 5 things fierce and free women do differently. It gives you a taste of how I communicate and what kind of person I am and what kind of person you can be if you give yourself permission. You can find that at DreamLeapLive.com, DreamLeapLive.com/freebies. Drop your name and your email. And if you're feeling generous, you can comment with, some thoughts. And you'll get that free report. And once you're on my email list, We'll connect once a week with more tips and strategies and just thoughts about how to take your time back. Please feel free to like, love, share this video with someone that needs to really dig deep on why they are not taking time for themselves. I'm guilty of it. I do it. I've done it. And there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to step out of this story, and if you want to stop saying to yourself that you never have enough time, you really need to get honest about why you're not making the time for yourself in the first place. Go on, get yours, and live deliciously. I'll talk to you soon.